Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Iowa Panfishing. Thanks for joining me. So the water is getting hard, as they say here in Iowa, and ice fishing has begun in many places. I'm probably going to make my first attempt at ice fishing this winter. My friend Jeff out in Jasper County is going to show me the ropes on his pond out there, which will be great. But I don't really know how much ice fishing I'm going to do. And so until the water opens up again, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll take up jig tying. And I've talked about that in a couple of videos. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tie what I'm calling the Copycat killer. That's this little baby right here. Now, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that my favorite jig is the 1.5" blue-white tube jig right here by Killer Jigs. And as you can see, I've found a color chenille for the body of this jig that is pretty darn close to the same shade of the blue and white jig. So that's what I'm going to be tying for you today, showing you how I do that, showing you the materials I use. So let's get started. Alright, let's begin by going over the materials I'm going to use for this jig. To start, I'm using a 1/16 ounce round jig head, and the one I'm using is by Wapsi, and it is the Super Jig Heads model. And I'm going to put all the links to what I'm using down in the description below. For the tail, I'm going to use Nature's Spirit Fish Hunter Marabou Fluorescent White UV. I'm going to use that for the tail. And for the body, I'm going to use by Hairline the UV Galaxy Mop Chenille Fluorescent Blue. That's what I'm going to use for that. There you go. And for the thread, underneath all of that is black 140 denier ultra thread. That's what I'm using on that. There you go. Can you see that? There you go. All right, let's get started. All right, first things first, get our thread started here up at the head of the jig. Several wraps there to secure the thread. And then we'll clip off the tag end there. Go. And then we will finish that wrap all the way down to the point of the hook. And if it goes a little beyond that, that's okay, but I want to try to stay close to the end there. Then we're going to take our marabou feather for the tail. There's some there. And I want it to be just a little longer total, as I'm measuring it, than the jig itself. So I've seen a lot of guys use this, and they will clip the feather after they secure it. Since I'm kind of new at this, that might be a little thin, but that's okay. Since I'm new at this, I go ahead and I clip it first, Get a couple of light wraps on there and then tighten it down. Work that all the way back up to the head. You know what, I'm gonna build this body a little more on this one, and I want to make sure that that's nice and tight there over the feather. I don't want that pulling out, and I'll work my way back up again. Not quite as many wraps to get to the jig head on that. All right, so the tail is secure. Then I'm going to take my chenille, and I'm just so happy with how close the color is on this to the plastic tube. Get that started. I want that to kind of stay on top if I can. Work that all the way back down again to the hook. Nice and tight. I want that really to stay secure, and work my way back up again. And a couple of extra wraps here to get some of this additional chenille secure there. There we go. All right. And then using my vise, since I have a rotating feature on this vise here, I'm gonna start there at the bottom, and I want to make sure that I'm well overlapping on each turn. I want to make sure there are no gaps at all, and I want to make that body as fat as I can on the wrap. And again, since I am just starting out on this, I do not do this as fast as some of the guys I watch, like Small Jaw and Mustache jigs. Well, I really enjoy watching their videos. I have learned everything I know, and that's not much right now, but everything I know about tying jigs, I have learned from fishermen who tied their own jigs, and I've learned that on YouTube. So, all right, so get that all the way up to the head. Oop. Let go of that too soon. Again, I want to make sure that's nice and tight. So we'll wrap that up again. There we go. All right, and then we will take the thread and we're going to cross over there, and we're going to do 2 or 3 wraps there to lock it in nice and tight, and then come back on the other side and another 2 or 3 wraps. Make sure that's locked in there. There we go. And then, getting as close to the body as I can, I want to trim off the tag of the chenille. There we go. And I try to waste as little as possible. So that's all that I'm wasting there. I measured it out, and I've got a little guide here on my desk so I can measure out the chenille to where I want it, so I don't waste too much. And then we finish with a whip finish, and everyone who has done how-to whip finish videos on YouTube say that this takes practice, and it most certainly does. So I do this slow as well, 3 or 4 times, at least that, and then all the way in nice and tight. And then I want to it's time to cut my thread, so I want to make sure that I get as close to the body as I can without cutting the knot. There we go. And then to finish, I'm going to use a little bit of Loon head cement just to make sure it stays in place. Some jig tires use a head cement, others do not. Since I'm still building my confidence, I am going to use that, particularly around the knot. All right, and there you have it, my friends, the Copycat Killer. Now, I am going to make these available at some point. If you are interested, you can Email me at iowapanfishing@gmail.com, iowapanfishing@gmail.com, and we could talk about adding the Copycat killer to your repertoire. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me for this edition of Iowa Panfishing. Until next time, God bless, and let's go fishing.